Why not?
Have I said that we're living in the dumbest times yet? Like, have I said that enough on this channel? Because I'm going to tell you this again. We're living in the dumbest times right now. Donald Trump posted yesterday that he just received his highest poll numbers ever. And when he says things like this, he never cites a source or anything. We've all actually seen the poll numbers. But do you know how many MAGAs are just posting this with no proof? They're like, look at that. Donald Trump has the best poll numbers right now. And everyone is like, we're all seeing the poll numbers. Most people that are talking about the poll numbers are actually citing the polls where they're getting the numbers. But Donald Trump just says this shit and they just repost it. Well, even Elon Musk's own X is putting community notes under these people's posts. They say, we don't know where Donald Trump is getting this. Poll numbers show that he's somewhere between 38 and 41% approval, which is the lowest in history for him, or one of the lowest ever, and definitely lower than all the presidents before him. So where he's getting this from, no one knows. So today, Jake Tapper had one of his talking heads on, and he's like, hey, where's Trump getting these poll numbers? Because no one sees this. Like, are you guys just feeding him fake poll numbers that look good? And of course, this guy tries to pass the buck to someone else.
Show why inflation is such a terrible thing and such a powerful political influence. I'm sure that inflation is one of the main reasons why Trump won in a landslide.
Right, but the prices are up more than 2 percentage points from last September compared to September 2024 compared to today. And yesterday morning, President Trump posted on Truth Social, quote, I have just gotten the highest poll numbers of my political career. While my great work on the economy has not yet been fully appreciated, it will be. Things are really rocking. I don't know what poll numbers he's referring to because CBS News YouGov poll has 75% saying the president's not focused enough on lowering prices. Fox poll, Trump's lowest economic approval rating of his second term, just 38%, a plurality, saying he's actually making things worse. Vice President Harris writes in her book about President Biden, the top Biden aide, quote, Mike Donnellan, would filter the data from the polls and present the numbers in soothing terms, unquote. Is that happening with President Trump, too? Is he only getting the most positively skewed polling information?
Well, Jake, as you know, I'm not the poll expert, but the people that are briefing the president all the time. And the bottom line is that if you look at where the economy is moving, that there have been a lot of positive movements. And so you mentioned the prices. You keep going back to Joe Biden's higher prices in the fall, but real wages this year are up about $1,200 so far this year because of all the jobs that are being created by the trillions that are coming in for capital spending and so on. And real wages, which is real purchasing power, dropped about $3,000 under President Biden. And so I think in the end, people are going to look at their pockets and decide, am I ahead or am I not? And I think that they're going to find that they're ahead.
Absolutely nothing shows that these tariffs are bringing in a bunch of jobs. What they show is that a lot of people are becoming unemployed because so many companies are closing because of the retaliatory tariffs. This dude is lying, and that is what they do. They just lie. That is why Donald Trump will post something and not cite any source. Everyone knows there are no polls that show that he has great poll numbers. People are not happy with this economy right now, and he knows that. So that is why he keeps coming on and just saying things. Because we've heard him say many times, Republicans just need to tell people how great their lives are. Their lives may not be great, but we just need to keep saying it, and then people are going to believe it. And that has been Donald Trump's thing since his first presidency. If I say it enough, people will believe it. And as a matter of fact, he doesn't have to say it enough for these MAGAs. They're just so dumb, they believe anything. And when they see community notes like that, they just go, fake news, it's fake news. These are the people we're dealing with. But that's not all. Again, we're living in the dumbest times. So, Donald Trump's transportation secretary, he was on the show because this is the day that Donald Trump sends all of his surrogates out to try and, clean everything up that he's messed up or try to make things, put a bow on a bag of shit for him. So he's asked, hey, the Biden administration had decided that airlines need to compensate people when they delay their flights, when they cancel their flights, when they make things freaking hell for people, they need to pay them out for that. You guys have decided to reverse that. Why? And he says, we wanted to take a common sense approach, and then goes on does not answer anything she says, but basically says, we're going to do whatever we want to do for the airlines because fuck these people.
I want to ask you about something else. During the Biden administration, there was this push for greater passenger rights. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to have the airlines compensate people, give the money if there was a delay, if there was a cancellation. But that is something that the Trump administration has said they do not want to do.
Well, we took a more common sense approach to it. If your flight is canceled and you're flying through Newark and you're stuck here, well, we think the airline should actually refund your flight or put you up in a hotel, give you a meal. But if they changed your flight number and it's going to fly at the same time, that doesn't count as a cancellation, and they don't have to refund you. And so we just want to have the right balance between the airlines and the passengers. And you all know that if you have all these passenger rights that are dinging airlines left and right, some where they should be dinged, but sometimes they should not be sanctioned, well, just the price of tickets are going to go up. So what is the right balance? And I think the last administration, the guy that sat in the seat was trying to run for president. I'm not running for president. So what I'm doing is saying, how do we have the balance between the airlines and the passenger and make sure it's fair for both?
He knows this is bullshit. No one is talking about their flight number being changed. They're talking about when their flights are canceled or when their flights are just horribly delayed or when they're trying to get a connecting flight and because their flight was delayed, they can't get their connecting flight, so they miss that flight. And a lot of times the airlines don't give a damn. They're saying stop allowing these airlines to do whatever they want to do. But of course the Trump administration is going to allow this because they believe in this crony capitalism that basically says all of these companies can do what the hell they want to the people because guess what? You need them more than they need you. And that is what they think. So because these airlines pay the Trump administration campaign money and pay for his ballroom and shit like that, this guy is saying, we're going to let them do whatever they want because you guys don't have a big enough voice and you definitely don't have big enough pockets. So we're going to do for the people who do for us. Everything with them is a quid pro quo. But this next thing that he says, they want to know why he thinks people have been yelling or getting a little unnerved with flight attendants and with TSA workers as much as they more than they were in the past. And listen, I don't think people should. I think if you're at the airport and you think getting on the TSA worker or the flight attendant is the way to go, you're wrong. It's not them. They're just trying to do the best that they can. They're good people. They would like your flight to be as pleasant as possible. Believe me, it's way above them where these mistakes are happening. However, his solution is people should dress up. They should dress up for their flights. I'm not kidding you. That is what he says here.
Something I didn't know, in 2018, 400% increase of in-flight outbursts by passengers. 2021, 1 in 5 flight attendants faced physical incidents. You want to change that?
Yeah, so Donald Trump talks about the golden age of transportation, the golden age of America. But the golden age in transportation truly begins with you, the traveler. And so if you think, and you just watch social media, you have brawls at the baggage claim. You have passengers berating gate agents. We have really passing airplanes. People dress up like they're going to bed when they've, I see people getting on airplanes and they're having a hard time taking their luggage and getting in the oversized or the above bin. Help people out. Be nice. Be courteous.
My wife and I fly a lot, especially during track season. We're flying to see our daughter run all over the country. I'll be damned if I'm going to get on a flight at 4 a.m. and dress up. I'm just not going to. It's a damn flight. And you know what? More people might do that if you guys haven't allowed these airlines to take a plane that's this long that used to have, 100 seats in it and put 150 seats in it. So now you have no leg room or anything. We're not trying to sit on these cramped up planes in freaking suits. That is not a solution to anything. Help people put their bags up, and we always do. When's the last time this guy flew on a commercial flight and sat in regular seats like the rest of us do? What is he talking about? We're all doing that. You know what frustrates people? It's not that someone next to them is in their pajamas. It's not that someone next to them needs help putting their bag up in a compartment. It's the nickel and diming that you allow these airlines to do. We got to pay for our bag. If the bag is more than a pound over a certain weight, you can't have the bag. You got to have a certain bag in a compartment. This bag goes under the seat. You got to pay for this seat or that seat. You want a window seat? Here's a little extra charge. You want a freaking aisle seat? Here's a little extra charge. You want to sit a little closer up front? Here's a little extra charge. You got to call the airline 24 hours before you sit down because then you got to check in. And you guys, it's what pisses people off is the BS they have to deal with every time they go to the airline. And again, if you get mad about these things, make your voices heard. But not to the TSA agents, not to the flight attendants. Believe me, those people are just like you. You're bringing your problems to the wrong people. They have a job that's been passed down to them from people like this dude. Okay? But this dude is saying dress up. Dress up and help people. His solutions are always on you. It's not on them. It's not because their flights are delayed. It's not because they're nickel and diming you. No, it's not them. It's because the person sitting next to you is wearing pajamas. That's why you're mad. That's why you're upset. That's what you're pissed off about. It's not because you just been overpaying for these flights. It's not because your flight was delayed and they don't give a damn about it. It's not because they canceled your flight or they overbooked your flight and now you don't have a seat. It's not any of those things. It's because the person next to you didn't bother to put on a nice dress before they came on the plane. We're living in the dumbest times. Again, these people have no solutions. They have no ideas. Their only ideas are, how can we make these companies richer and screw the normal person? They don't care about you. And it's crazy to me. I saw someone post the other day that they genuinely don't understand why people don't like Donald Trump. And I know most of these pages are bots and stuff anyway. We recently found that out, and I'll be talking to you guys about that in my next video. But if you don't see why people don't like Donald Trump, like if you genuinely don't see that, you got to be just, your head's in the sand. It's absolutely in the sand. This guy telling you that you just need to dress nice and help your neighbor put their luggage up in the compartment, and you'll make a good flight starts with you. Nah, it would start with cheaper seats. It would start with more leg room. It would start with Wi-Fi that was free on the plane that I didn't have to pay for. That's what it would start with. It doesn't start with how I'm dressed on the flight. We're living in the dumbest times, with the dumbest administration in the history of this country. Period.
Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in their heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.